Hi, Rayne. How you doing? Okay, so looking good. Good start. So I think there's a couple of interesting things happening. I think the color relationship here is nice. It causes a good continuation, and it also draws a relationship between the subject matter as depicted by the sword and the scarf and the actual title area. So you're creating a nice little relationship there. Like that transparent effect behind the sun. That's interesting. One thing I would say though is to try to get the sun more, try to get that closer to the hue of the scarf. I think it would create it would allude to a relationship between the title area and the subject matter. And I'm going to talk about that further in 1 second. However, I think the color should be a little bit more consistent, or if not exact. I think that would be interesting, but definitely maintaining that transparency. Um, the masking in this area right here, this little configuration here, this composition right here, to me, I'm reading it as a sword sticking out of the ground and the headband kind of dangling off the sword or hanging off the sword. And since the main character is gone, I would think this would kind of depicts to like sort of a resolution of a conflict where he's given up or he's walked away from the conflict. Ergo, he's left his mask and he's left his sword. Though he's not depicted, he or she, the main character, the protagonist, is not there. And another thing I would recommend is that this is almost too close to the center. I think it's an interesting placement, but I think it would be interesting if we were to place it just a little bit off center a little. This area right here where the handle of the sword goes right behind the whole mask. Right now, I think it would be more interesting at those. That almost appears as the, you know, I can click in here. So this area right here, it seems like this should be instead of hanging, like it just appears like it's hanging there. So what we would want to do is make it look like the handle is going up through the mask. And in order to do that, you just create, mask the area on mask the area on the red mask and take this area way up to where the front of the mask is so that it looks like the handle is coming through the mask. Do you see what I'm saying? Right here. So that area right there would just show the handle up until where that area of that mask is, and then that would make sense. It would look like it's hanging on there. Okay, the next thing I would recommend is we need to get some typography in here. Specifically, if we go over to the presentation, and this is week 2, project 1, cinematic poster part 2, rough composite, and down here it shows you how you can gain access to those kind of really cool movie poster fonts, so you can give the credits. And we see that a good example of the movie credits. You can take a look at any movie poster and take a look at the credits. But what you want to do is you want to set up your credits towards the bottom. And there are some requirements in the specifications therein. So be sure you go through those. The other recommendation I would make is you definitely want to add some sort of tagline or byline here, because since the characters aren't shown here, this could be construed in a lot of different ways. As I had just given you to me, it seems like some sort of an end or a conflict, or avoiding some sort of a conflict, or resolving a conflict. Since the weapon is laid down, or not laid down, but abandoned, so to speak, and the mask is over it. So somehow we need to tie this in. You spent your word association and you created your pitch and your scenario. So we want to kind of tell the rest of the story here. And since the characters aren't doing it, you have 2 ways of telling the story. Either give a nice detailed tagline that connects what we see here with the subject matter and the plot, as it were. Or you can introduce some characters here that kind of define this area a little further. The point is that it's not telling a full story, and you can tell a full story with a typographic byline or tagline. So keep that in mind. So those are my recommendations, and if you have any questions at all, please let me know. I'll be glad to make any necessary clarifications. But off to a great start. Good job, and let me know if you have any questions. All right, thanks.